Today in Algebra 1, in Chapter 2, Lesson 6, the title of it is Dividing Real Numbers. Well, sometimes when you divide, it's easier to multiply by the reciprocal. Let's look at these 4 examples. Negative 16 divided by 4. We all know that that's pretty simple. A negative divided by a positive is a negative, and then 16 divided by 4 is 4. So if we wanted to change that into a multiplication problem, we would say negative 16, change your divide to multiply, and we would have 1/4, because the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Okay, and we would have the same answer. We would get the same result, negative 4. Okay, the second example, negative 20 divided by 5/3. Okay, we can't divide by a fraction, so we have to change this one into a multiplication problem. Negative 20 times negative 3 over 5. We are going to multiply by the reciprocal. That's important, and we're going to say that a lot in this lesson. That might be something you want to write down. Multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, we know our product has got to be a positive number because a negative number times a negative number gives you a product that is positive. All right, now the denominator of this 20 is 1. The denominator of any whole number is 1. We need to look to see if we can reduce any of these numbers. We can reduce anything in the numerator with anything in the denominator. So 20 and 5 have a common factor of 5. 5 goes into 5 one time, so we can cross that out and make it 1. 5 goes into 20 4 times. Okay, so now we've reduced that all we can. Now we have a negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 3 is 12, and that is the solution. Our third example, negative 3/8 divided by 3/10. We're going to keep the first number just as it is, negative 3/8. Change the division sign to a multiplication sign. Multiply by the reciprocal. 10 over 3 is the reciprocal of 3 over 10. We have a negative number multiplied by a positive number, and so that product is negative. Now we need to see if anything can reduce. Well, the 3 can cancel out with a 3. That will become a 1 in each one of those spots. 8 and 10 can reduce. 2 into 8 is 4, and 2 into 10 is 5. So now we have 1 times 5 is 5, and 4 times 1 is 4, and that is the solution. The last problem that we are going to look at on this page is negative 2/5 divided by 18. So we're going to have negative 2/5, change your divide to multiply, and remember that we must multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, the denominator of 18, or of any whole number, is 1. So when we take its reciprocal, the 1 simply goes to the top, and the whole number goes to the bottom, and we will get this fraction. All right, now we also know, again, that a negative times a positive is a negative. Now we're going to look and see if anything will reduce. 2 into 18 can reduce. 2 into 2 is 1. 2 into 18 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1 in the numerator, and in the denominator we have 5 times 9 is 45, and that is our solution. Let's take it a step further. Now we have an expression that needs to be reduced, but we need to pull it apart. The first example, 36x minus 24 over that whole entire quantity over 6. Let's pull that apart. Let's pull it apart and have it be 36x over 6 minus 24 over 6. Okay, we pulled it apart and we put the first term, 36x, over 6, and then we put the second term, the 24 over 6. It's the same expression, it's just rewritten. Now we can reduce from there. Okay, 36 and 6 can be reduced. 6 goes into each of those. 6 into 6 is 1. 6 into 36 is 6. So now we have reduced that first term simply to 6x. Now 24 divided by 6 is 4. And so now we have simplified that expression simply into 6x minus 4. The second example we have here is negative 6y plus 18, that entire quantity divided by 3. So again, we're going to pull it apart. The first term, negative 6y, is over 3. Then our second term is 18, also must be put over 3. All right, now we're going to reduce those to simplify them. In our first term, negative 6y over 3, we have a negative over a positive, which is going to give us a negative answer. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and then we have our y. Plus 18 over 3 is 6. And that is simplified as low as it will go to the most simple form, and that is our solution. The last two examples that we are going to look at today on this page, 2x minus 8 divided by negative 4. Again, let's pull this apart. 2x over negative 4. Now we have a minus 8 over negative 4. Okay, so let's take a look at what that will do. The 2 and the 4 can reduce. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into that negative 4, negative 2. So we have negative 1/2 x. Now we have a negative over a negative, which is going to turn positive. So we're going to put our plus sign there. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we have negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, last one for this lesson to take a look at. Okay, we're going to pull it apart. Negative 10z over negative 5. And then we have negative 20 over negative 5. Okay, so in this first term we have negative over a negative, which turns positive. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and then we have our z. Now we have a negative divided by a negative turns positive, so we're going to put our plus sign here, and 20 divided by 5 is 4, and that is the solution. Okay, so I guess the big thing we need to walk away from this knowing is that when you're dividing, you need to multiply by the reciprocal. And that when you have two terms in your numerator, that it can be pulled apart into two separate terms, each with the same denominator before you reduce it. But the big thing is to multiply by the reciprocal. That might be a really good thing to write down and know for a little quiz.